As always, I like to start off these videos with Bruce Stark's definitive book on the Automag because these videos wouldn't be possible without Bruce Stark's help and this book. So if you want a copy, there will be his email at the bottom of the video here. So let's get to it. Hi everybody, Jeff Kelly here. Today I wanted to do another video on the Automags, and you can see I've got 4 of them sitting in front of me here, and wanted to talk about the high standard Automag this time. That's kind of an unusual history because Lee Juris was talking to Harry Sanford in 1974 about getting the exclusive distribution rights for the Automag, and they had made a deal, from what I understand, and then Don Mitchell, the CEO or VP of marketing, I've seen it 2 different places, but I would take that he is the CEO because that's what Bruce Stark has reported on, came in and stepped in front of Lee Juris with a better deal and got the exclusive worldwide distribution for the Automag. And the original deal was to make 135 44s, 6.5-inch barrel, and they were supposed to be marked with an H serial number. Now, Bruce Stark has written an article that's on the internet, but it's very interesting, and he discusses the mismatches of barrels and frames. He says in April 1974, High Standard commissioned 135 Automags to be built using the High Standard logo. Don Mitchell was High Standard CEO at the time. Don told the author, Bruce Stark, that only 135 H prefix serial number guns were ordered from Automag by High Standard. All 135 were to be 6.5-inch barrels, 44 Automag pistol guns in field grade condition. Don said that no other calibers or barrel lengths were ordered. The eventual production was 134 H prefix guns, and 108 of them were 44 Automag pistol, and 26 of them were 357 Automag pistol. And then after that, the exclusive distribution rights were sold to Lee Juris sometime before September of 1974. Now this story gets a lot more interesting because there was a lot more barrels struck than the 135 H prefix serial numbers. And this book right here is a log of all the High Standard serial numbers, and I'll give you a closer picture of the pages that are necessary to understand what was going on. But the 135 H guns were only the beginning of the story. So let's start going through here with the evolution of the Automags, just to catch you up if you haven't seen my other videos. And there's 4 evolutions going on here. The first is this one here, of course, the Pasadena, which they made roughly 2,874 or 5 of them. And then the North Hollywood, which they made about 1,000 of these. And then the Almanis, and those serial numbers started at about 5,000, and they continue on through the High Standard series, through the Lee Juris series, and end up in their own series up in the 6,000 or thereabout range, 6,500, and then they take on a new iteration, which is the OMC, which I'm still learning a little bit about, and I will get to in another video. And then this one here, which we are going to talk about today, which is the High Standard. And you can see that it's got the High Standard logo on it. And it has, well, one of the things that happened through this evolution was the grips, which were, like on this North Hollywood, they were cast, became injection molded on the High Standard and later developed guns. And the reason for that was they were more inexpensive to be injection molded, but they cracked. They were very easily cracked, and you can see right down here that there's a crack there, and there are stories about them being cracked on the first shot. So Don Mitchell told Harry that he didn't want the injection molded grips on his H guns, and they had to put cast grips on those. But the key to these High Standards that were A serial numbers, and that was considerable. They were up in the 900 gun range of A serial numbers, and that was after High Standard had left Automag. As you can see, there's an A serial number on this one. This is a 1975, and in this book that I'm going to show you later, the serial number started at AO 6600, and this one here is AO 6603, which is early 75. But you can see another crack here in this grip. But when I flip this gun over, well, let's flip the rest of them over first. This one, Pasadena, and the North Hollywood, and the El Monte, all have made in USA on this side, as you can see. The High Standard that Harry was putting out after Don had left has TDE above the Made in USA. And the reason for that was the marketing materials showed a picture of this particular gun, and they couldn't show it with the High Standard logo. So they, for marketing purposes, they showed this side of the gun on their marketing materials, which I will show you later on in the video. I'll show you those marketing materials. But they made about, Harry turned out about 900 of the High Standards that were not authorized. However, they are still listed in the serial number logs of high standard in the book. So that has yet to be explained. But let's take a look at some of the advertising material, guns and ammo that had the high standard on the front cover, and take you back to 1974, 1975. First of all, I wanted to give you a closer shot of the serial number of this high standard and the A prefix, as well as that big old crack there in the grip. So there's just a little better shot of it. And I also wanted to give you a closer shot of the TDE marking on the right side of the receiver there that Harry put on so he could market these high standard barrels and get them out of the shop. And here's a little better shot of the high standard logo. Now this here is the most important part of the video right here. This is May 1974 marketing materials, and you can see that Harry has got that Automag just showing the right side with the TDE stamp on the receiver, not letting you see that it has that high standard barrel on it. So that's the crux of the matter right there. He made too many barrels, and he had to get rid of them and put the TDE marking on the right side, and there you have the actual marketing materials. And here is the front cover of the high standard book with the serial numbers in it. And here down at the bottom of the page you can see the starting serial numbers and the finishing serial numbers for both the H prefix and also the A prefix serial numbers. You can see there's 901 of these barrels that Harry had to get rid of with a high standard logo on one side. So it's said that he may have printed up too many and overshot, so that's why he was stuck with all those barrels. But he had to get rid of them. And then here's the other page in the book that lists the Automags. It says that there's a catalog number of 9346 for the 44 Automag in stainless with the 6-inch barrel tapered, made by TDE, 44 AMP, 1974, years in production 1, and below it catalog number 9347, Automag 357 in stainless, 6-inch barrel tapered, made by TDE, 357 AMP, 1974, 1 year in production. And then the first showing of the high standard Automag was in this Guns and Ammo of July of 1974. And as long as I have both types of Automags now, the early Pasadena and the North Hollywoods, I just wanted to show you something about the bolt. You can see on the bottom of the bolt here, there's a check mark on it, and that's where the trigger bar goes up and seats after the bolt has gotten in its proper place. But anyway, that's the check mark was made on the Pasadenas and also on the North Hollywoods, and they had to lift the mill up in order to get that check mark look there. And now I'll show you what they did for the later models. When they moved to El Monte, they started making the bolts like this with just a smile, and that happened when they didn't lift up the mill to make that little check on there. So the bolts from Almonte on, high standard OMCs were all made with just that little smile there. So if you have a check mark on a Almonte, that's the wrong bolt with the gun, and a smile on a Pasadena, that's the wrong bolt. So anyway, I just wanted to do a little housekeeping there. Another thing I noticed about the earlier guns is the one on the right there is a Pasadena, and you can see how flush the receiver fits against the frame there between the two recoil screws. And the other one, there's that notch going underneath there. That is the Almonte gun, and it also looks the same on the high standard gun as well. So the Pasadena and the North Hollywoods have that flush frame, and then you've got that gap underneath the receiver there on the later frames. So that's about it. That's on the high standard, and hopefully you enjoyed the video and got whatever information you wanted on the high standard Automag. Don't forget Bruce Stark's book, and his email will be at the bottom of the video. I will see you on the next one.